There you go, Ben.
So now we just gotta find it on there.
We got,
I got it loaded up.
We're gonna
Yeah.
discuss. They want, it's gonna be. on-
And I pulled the HDMI and
We're not.
replugged it. I just don't know which HDMI plug it into the TV.
Right, no, that's what it's on. This is the one I have it plugged into.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
3 months ago when we hired that outfit.
Yeah, I was restoring that when they came in.
City. I don't know about Humboldt yet.
Right,
Go to city, you call for a board of adjustment.
Get this handled. Just might not get to stare at yourself.
and then it was, you know, like.
They just found out. They know about it. What do you hired that guy? 6 months ago. So he knew about that. Yeah. Not a question. He had plenty of time to come in here and get, I guess it's gonna be on last Tuesday.
No.
After Memorial Day, he tried to get in the office. And it's supervisor. He just. Like on the agenda. You gotta put it on the agenda. That's why they call it special, because you don't have.
So will that thing work by itself then?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
all that is basically like you're attaching a monitor to it and you see what it.
Okay.
Will it record?
Yeah,
It'll record everything.
yeah. Basically, all that does is just whatever's on the little screen there is what shows up there. It just acts like a monitor is all it's doing. It'll record and do everything else it needs to do.
What's on the monitor. If anybody's on it.
Can you see it on?
Well, that just shows.
We haven't started the meeting yet.
We're 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah, no, it's gone. There's a saying here.
Oh, it does.
Turn it around so they can see it.
Yeah, well, if I got enough cable to do so.
I just turn it a quarter. Turn it.
Either just to kind of,
Cause it's kind of,
There you go.
oh geez.
okay.
I was.
That going. All right, let's call the North pledge.
Thank you, Chris.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Okay, so meeting's called order. Now we need to approve the agenda. Any changes or additions, anybody?
I did add to approve the minutes for last week,
That's right.
6-2. So that would be the only kind of change.
Do we need to add the minutes for the meeting on Friday?
Yeah, that was it.
That was the one you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Nothing else, make the motion to approve.
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, no nays, so motion carried. Approve the minutes of May 22nd and June 2nd.
Well, I've read through the main, yeah, both of them actually, so. Approve the minutes of May 22nd meeting, and the other one looks like I went just fine. I'll approve the minutes for that as well, both meetings.
I'll second.
Okay, with motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous carries. All right. Okay, general public concerns.
I have something, and I'm so excited, I gotta stand up.
Okay, good.
So I came here to thank you, really. We, the Humboldt County Democrats had a book sale to benefit all our county libraries, and we got this great participation. It was a non-political thing, you know, got great participation, but over the course of this, I got to visit the county libraries and in all the little towns, and I had never been there before. And those places are busy. People in there are laughing, talking, having coffee, you know. And so I really wanted to thank the county supervisors for their support of all our county libraries. I know as a rural person, I don't have to pay extra to belong to the Humboldt Public Library. So if you're ever in doubt or, just need a boost, go to one of these public libraries. You'll find out that, if the small towns are dying, you can't find that in the public library. You find plans for the future. You find a lot of people there. So Ranaway can't get a parking spot. So anyway, thanks for your
Awesome. Thanks,
support
Casey.
of that. Yeah.
It was a good fundraiser for them
Yeah.
then. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Okay, Ben, you're up. Good morning.
Just have the one item on the agenda for today to approve work in the right of way permit with Mid-American Energy. They're looking at relocating about 4,100 foot of 4-inch plastic gas main on the east side of Gotch Park Road, south of the bridge past Erickson's down to the intersection. We told them with us acquiring the additional right of way and widening shoulders there, that where they had the line would be fine. But being that it was going to be in the bottom of the ditch, they wanted to move it back to the back of the right of way. Because depth wise, they were fine. They weren't going to be affected, but this is, I guess, their choice to relocate about 4,100 foot of it.
That's what this
That's what this,
information is. It's saying that so essentially they're moving it back.
they're just moving it back.
Will it go to the river? Is it shy of the river?
It's shy of the river.
They don't want to go around the river.
They don't want to go through the river again. No,
Well,
I think they
didn't
lost a
hear
bit
that. That's
last
why we
time.
Lost money on that last time.
Yeah.
That's only been in there 12 years.
Yeah, it hasn't been in there very long.
Are they gonna leave the old line just in the ground, or are they gonna pull it out?
I think they're gonna pull it out.
Okay.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve. The paperwork's all in order.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
Okay, unanimous motion carries. All right.
beyond that, PCI is working on the bridge replacement north of Bode. They started that last week. The bridge has been removed except for the north abutment. Plan is to take that out tomorrow. Having a little difficulty setting the box on the east side of it because of Mid-American transmission lines. They've got a high energy line that runs on that road, and they can't get their crane stick down below it and clear the 10-foot minimum clearance. So Mid-American's supposed to be there tomorrow to drop the two lower lines, and I think put protectors on the others. So so that slowed us down a little bit on that. Thursday and Friday, we overlaid Sheldon Park Road from south of the park entrance down to Wildcat Road. I don't know if you guys have been out on it. I drove it this morning.
Did you
Right,
take
it's
a
nice.
picture and send it to our friend?
I should send it to Carl. I didn't. I will do that this morning. I'll go out there and take a picture.
He might drive back just to see it.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And as far as I know, as far as the bridge project down on Lone Tree Road, they're still shooting for coming back in. the 4th of July. Today is the start of the 410s for the guys. We're out blading, mowing, trying to finish up hauling rock this week, so. That's our plan. You guys have anything for me? No?
Perfect. I would tell you that Ben and I visited last week on the Highway 3 corridor. Somebody drove the corridor and sent those signs for the kids.
like, I have a heartbeat before
Yeah.
I'm born.
Oh, yeah.
So through the ministerial board, I don't know what, 10, 12 years ago, they put them signs up. Yep. Put them on private property. Well, someone replaced 4 of the signs because they were so discolored.
Mhm.
Well, the new signs have a, who sponsors it? Which whoever drove the corridor noticed that it's being sponsored by Save, so.
It's like heartbeat across America or something.
So they wanted them down. So I'm in the process, I'm gonna go out and paint over them so that there's no, and then Ben said that if we do that, then in the state's eyes, there won't be any issues, so we're gonna paint over the,
Responding.
so I'm trying to get a hold
They
of,
can't be sponsored by somebody else.
can't have any support from whoever, so we're just gonna go out and paint the name, paint whoever's. We got the first group of pictures from the guys over in Manson. That, a little picture of the little guy, and they came from the church over at Manson, so we put them up, didn't have any name on them, so that everything was good. Somebody drives it 10 years later and sees those supported by the whatever foundation, you can't have that,
So
so.
they feel like it's an advertisement or that they might be getting paid to have those signs up.
Oh,
It violates their.
It's not a free speech. Somebody can put it up on their property as a free speech, but if it has supported by whoever, then it's not. So I thank Ben for the ministerial board. I reached out to Ben because I figured he knew somebody in Des Moines because I wasn't having any luck. So we're gonna get rid of the little name insignia on the bottom
okay.
and hopefully it'll be done. So if I get in trouble being on somebody's property, somebody bail me out.
That's a worthy cause. I'll help you.
All right, I'll remember that. I'll
I'll
hold you
bring
to
that
that.
along. For moral
Sounds good.
support.
Yep, we'll bring bail money.
I think you'll be fine.
My
Thanks
wife
for-
will be the one that'll send the law. Thank
All
you
right,
for your
that's all
call
I have.
anyway.
Thanks, Ben. All right. Todd, 8:45. Wow, we're on time too.
Well, it seems like just yesterday, it's been a while since I came to you to discuss the Reasoner Dam. There's been a lot going on. I guess I've had multiple conversations with many of you individually as well as members of the, I guess I'll just call it the Save the Dam group. And it looks like there's maybe some mutual interest in starting the process of maybe a change in ownership type process. So I guess with that said, there is a motion on the table from the Conservation Board that I guess I would like to read through it with you so that everybody's on the same page. Motion is as follows. Motion to offer the Reasoner Dam for sale to the public with the date, time, and method of sale to be determined by the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors. The buyer will have the option to either totally remove the dam or to complete all recommended repairs as outlined on page 17 of the Axiom report presented at the April 19th regular Conservation Board meeting. The buyer will have 36 months from the date of sale to complete whichever option is chosen. If at the end of the 36 months, the removal or repairs are not complete, ownership of the dam will revert to the Humboldt County Conservation Board. The buyer will be required to maintain liability coverage on the structure. In addition, Humboldt County Conservation Board reserves the right to include additional language in the final purchase agreement as deemed necessary by legal counsel. So there's a lot going on there. I hope you're able to follow along, but the stipulation part of that motion, I mean, and I guess several members of the board are here, but I think they feel like there's kind of a moral obligation on our part to make sure that something is done with the dam and that somebody doesn't just buy it and let it sit. So that's kind of the reason for those stipulations.
Can we even sell it?
I've been in contact with Mr. Beatty and he assures me that we can. I know when I talked to you previously, we talked about doing an auction or a sealed bid type thing. The most recent correspondence that I had with John, he let me know that we could sell it to either a nonprofit or even an individual. But you, as the Board of Supervisors, would have to have a public hearing and then pass a resolution to sell. So there will be a process involved, but I know one of the concerns was, what if you did an auction and somebody from Texas decided they wanted to buy a dam in Humboldt, Iowa? What happens? So that kind of takes that out of the equation. So I guess hopefully that answers your question, Dave.
Corps of
Okay.
Engineers approved.
Pardon?
Ours approved, Corps of Engineers approved.
Yep. So I guess I'm just here to update you on that, and
Mhm.
what are your thoughts?
I got some, but I don't know if you don't want to hear them. I don't know if I should even say anything because I don't want to piss anybody off, but I guess my feelings are that you put in a stipulation in there that the whoever buys it has to do something with it. Like we've done something with it. In what, 40, 50 years? We haven't touched it.
Not for lack of effort.
I'm not saying there's no effort.
I'll defend myself a little in that I've been going to meetings since 2005, Bruce, when I was with the city. And it just seems like there's always this roadblock. There's always pushback from somewhere.
I know.
I have put in,
I
and
think that's
not
the
just
same way
me.
that other group feels.
Yeah, no, I know, Bruce, and I guess to me, maybe this is the best case scenario if they were interested in a transfer of ownership. I don't know. Again, if that's not something you're interested in, so be it, but I just, like I said, wanted to make you aware of that motion that's on the table from the board, Conservation Board.
So then I've also heard that you guys said, and this is, I talked to you. And I want to make sure that what we talked about was, you said that board, the dam is in their name, right?
I believe the deed is in Humboldt County Conservation Board's name. Yes.
So basically, you've been to this board numerous times asking how we should approach this. And I told you before that this board was sharing some of the blame for the last 40 to 50 years, right?
Yep.
So, and then all of a sudden, then I hear that your board doesn't need our input. And then my question is, well, if this goes to the point where it has to be taken out, who's gonna pay for it?
And that's where I shared with you, I feel like it's a big enough decision. That maybe, and even maybe if push comes to shove, can we act on our own? It would appear as if we can, but I don't want to proceed that way. I think it's too big of a decision. I mean, honestly, it's probably one of the bigger decisions you guys, well, all of us would ever face. Your time on the board or the conservation board's time on their board. It needs to be a group effort, in my opinion, and that's why I have done what I've done. Because I think, and I've tried to communicate, I really have tried to keep everybody in the loop and up to speed as far as what's going on. You hold the purse strings at the end of the day, Bruce, and you know that. So
I don't think we have any
I want
purse
to work
strings.
with
I mean, that's-
you or whoever.
That's the point. It isn't like we have some magic vault that's full of money and we're trying to figure out how we're gonna flush that back into the system so we can make it work. I think everybody wants to make it work.
I'm well aware of that.
We're banging our head against the wall, and I think the other group's trying to figure out a way to do something but
Part of the reason for the decisions that the Conservation Board has made is they realize the county does not have an endless supply of money. We have tried to be as fiscally responsible as we can, tried to seek out grant funding, tried to do this, that, and the other thing,
Right.
to not come to you with an unreasonable request. So in fairness, I think we've tried.
I think you've done a very good job, Todd, of keeping this up to date. We have worked with, we were hoping that we'd be able to get the Destination Iowa thing. That would have been an amazing thing for Humboldt County. So no, don't,
No,
don't beat yourself
I
up on
agree
that,
with
'cause you've done an
Sandy.
amazing job.
I agree with Sandy, and I had said this before, but I'll say it again. I commend the Conservation Board's efforts. They have done yeoman's and woman's work. It's
Thank you.
really have. They've just taken this extremely seriously. And you can't thank another board enough for
Right.
what you've
Done a good
done.
job.
So then do I have the ability to ask a question about last week's episode down there? Where the fire department was unable to put a boat in?
Mhm.
What the hell do we do?
Well,
I
We
mean,
need to
this
work
is in
with
our name.
correct, but we need to work with the emergency management too, I would think, on what is, since we can't get a boat in the boat dock to get out there, what do we do in a situation like that?
Well, if you drive by, those cables are gone. Are they? They're gone. So there's no safety line across that dam. And those people that got on it in a kayak, the next thing you know, they're up against the bowl or the barrels, which by the way, what was it, 6 foot?
Yeah.
She couldn't touch in 6 foot of,
Right in front of it.
so evidently that all of the speculation that it's supposedly full of mud and whatever, she couldn't touch. So I'm just asking, because the fire department went from there out to Sheldon Park, and thank God, one of the people that lived out there heard him hollering. Brett you weren't home, right? It was, Steve Christensen heard someone screaming, had a boat, went over and rescued him before that's scary.
Very
And
much so.
my wife and I are sitting in the backyard and these 2 kids go by on a float. And me being a grumpy old man, I said, where the hell are your life jackets? Well, we don't need life jackets. I said, well, you're 2 corners from going around the dam. Please stay to this side. Well, then when I heard it, well, it wasn't them, but it was somebody in a kayak or a canoe or whatever. So I guess my question is we still have to maintain this thing. The safety of it is still there. How do we do that?
All the proper signage is there. I don't know how it's unfortunate, but at the same time, they may have made some decisions that maybe they probably regret, I would guess. The cables, I mean, if you want to put the cables back up as a safety thing, last ditch effort.
Well, you look at the amount of trees that are up against the dam. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the reason they're gone, was some of them trees we haven't had water coming down that thing like we had in the last few weeks. For years. Now all of a sudden, you'd be sitting in the backyard and see a full tree go by.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wood up against that thing. But people still have to be smart enough to.
Right. But
And
people have to start taking responsibility for themselves. I mean, we can only do so much. People have to start thinking about river safety and things like that. I mean, going down there without life jackets is just irresponsible, ridiculous.
I think it's against the law.
Yeah.
Life jackets. That's what I on the river, but. You know, as far as liability, nothing that we do will ever be off anyone who's here.
No,
No, I was
It
gonna say,
doesn't mean that we're liable. We
You're
can't
still gonna
stop
get sued.
lawsuits, so with the kayak thing. I mean, that's not. Something in my opinion that county would be liable. But that doesn't stop anybody from suing us. We need the problems that exist all over the state, not just in Humboldt, and whether it be rivers running fast after floods, dams, whatever. I mean, these things happen throughout the state of Iowa. So it's not, it doesn't stop a lawsuit against the county, but it's not the county's responsibility to make the rivers safe, so nobody drowns and nobody has any adverse consequences. We can't make anything safe. We can't put spikes sticking out of the dam. We can't do all the stuff that make it. I'm just,
Right.
we can't guarantee the pool's 100% safe either.
Yeah.
I mean, we have lifeguards, we have whatever. That was kind of scary when I heard that. So that was my question.
I was gonna ask, this 3-year deal before it goes back to the council, is that enough time for something to get funded and started? I'm asking kind of the you, Brett.
Well, I think. Instead of all this fighting, we all have our opinions. It goes back to our conversation we had before the meeting started. About the destinations you've been to, the neat places you've been to.
Mhm.
Humboldt County can be a regional destination. And it all stems around the river. All 3 campgrounds are around the river. The bike trails along the river. So when we go back to this, we need to, the river is the base of all. We need to maintain or save the river the best we can. I just talked to Jack again Thursday and Friday down in Des Moines. And they set some of this destination money aside and the money, we can still get our hands on some. What I'm disappointed in, be brutally honest, Todd, you said you've done everything you can. Those cables should have been out there. Because he's right. You can't stop anybody from suing you. But you're gonna lose because some lawyers licking his chops because the cables weren't up. They didn't have a chance. And I'm not throwing, those are some of the small things that need to be done. But we can still get some of that money. I think, Eric, don't you sit there like you give a crap less.
No, I've heard this before, so
I know, and I'm gonna take your advice. I think it's gonna be bonded. Let's take it to the voters in November. And when everybody says it's $3 million, it's not $3 million. There's money available. I met with Todd and Cole out the city. And all that money, some of that money is available for this. And there's money at the state still. And it goes back to the conservation board. When we didn't get the destination island money, we said, hey, last second, we can lease hard surface the bike trails. And the conservation board poo-pooed that. Because their feelings were hurt, we didn't do the dam.
Oh, no.
So why did you get poo-pooed?
It didn't, we were all set to submit that grant, but it was a 60% local match. And we could not come up with that in 3 days.
We had time after that, just like Todd, we're gonna get more money for the dam down the road. Because it happens faster. Todd, was there not more money available for trails down the road before we even did the project?
Well, Brett, I guess we're guilty of being too conservative, because if we have a project we're doing, we don't want to get the county in hot for, lots and lots of money that we don't have in our budget. You know what I mean? And nobody would like to have that trail paved more than I would.
There's all kinds of money, there's all kinds of grants available, we would have got after this. No different than Todd said, you guys put your name on the line. I went check, Eric, there's $1.4 million you guys signed for fixing the dam, right? And that was a $4.7 million project with a 50% contingency on an old bid. And if you think, and Sandy said, oh, we're gonna be down to 150 or not. Why? Because Todd, there was other money they were gonna go after. Besides the 1.4, we're gonna do the same thing with the trails. We can still do the same thing with the dam now. There's still money available. You can't tell me that's not available. If we keep the dam the way it is, or fix the gate or do what we supposed to do.
Brett, I took the time to meet with you and went through those numbers. So what you're just saying is, I'll just call it misleading. That 1.4 million was going to be fronted. The county was going to be reimbursed by other grant funding. So don't say that they were on the hook for support. That is not accurate.
I think
When she said 40% available, we were gonna go after more money, just like you're doing. I'm saying the same thing, Todd.
But I don't think the conservation board has the power to approve a project they don't have the money for. But they can't say, we're gonna do this on the assumption that we're gonna get extra money afterwards. They have to be funded for it, or they have to go to the supervisors to ask for the money. So assuming they have $0 and they need 10,000, and they have the ability to get 5,000 from grants after the project is approved with no guarantee, they would need the supervisors to approve the outlay to the conservation board before they spend the money, before they approve the project. So they can't, and I understand what you're saying, but they can't. The conservation board can't just start approving things without the money. They can, if they have grants in hand, great. If they have a commitment from the supervisors to provide the money and allow them to look for more grants or more money elsewhere, they can do it. But if they don't have it don't have it in their budget, they can't approve it without some action by the board of supervisors.
Sounds that the same way we operate?
What,
Well, we can't just approve we have to have the money somewhere. We can't just. The only way we can bond something was when we did the radio, right? If it's for the public health or public good, safety. We could do that, but we can't just do this dam because we want to do the dam. Without asking, without the public's input, right?
About 60%.
60% vote
you need the public input for the dam?
in
It
order
has
to
to-
put
it
the
has to
money
be a
towards
bond.
it.
We're
A bond.
bonded for a bond issue.
Okay, so. Well, yeah. Yes,
That's what I'm saying. We have to operate on the
Whereas,
same
I
rules that
think
that
what
board is
Bruce
doing.
Saying, John, is for public safety, we don't have to have a past bond issue, we can just levy for it for public safety.
When we updated our radio system, that's what I was saying.
okay. I didn't follow that. So, yeah, you would have, if you don't have the money, then you would have to probably put them for a vote.
Right.
on.
So explain to me, when the county signed for the 1.4, when they were gonna do the river project with the city and everybody involved. They did not have the commitment on the rest of the money Todd was working on it. They didn't have the commitment. So how did, when they signed for the 1.4, how did they do that without the commitment for the rest? And they thought they were only gonna spend $150,000.
I think that was more of the, we'll do this if we can get the money. But that didn't.
But we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that.
No, I mean, but that didn't go through, that got killed by the city. So, I mean,
No, they signed for it, before it went to the city. So they were on the hook.
Contingent.
It was contingent on us getting all the money.
Okay, but then we couldn't contingent on getting extra money to do the bike trail. I'm
I don't think there is many grants out there from what I understood
Well,
for the,
there's more
no,
There's more bikes, there's more grants for bike. trails.
matching part of it. Wasn't it from what I understood, it was the matching percent. We had to put 60%.
Okay, I have been working on this for 30 some years, and I have known one bike trail in Iowa, existing bike trail, no, it wasn't even existing. When they first got it in, they got it paid. But there have been 0 grants, as far as I'm aware, in Iowa for paving existing trails. And so that's why I didn't personally, myself, didn't say, oh yeah, let's push this through, because I know there's some grants out there. Because I had a, let's call it a bias of my experience, knowing that there were no grants in Iowa.
Well, I was told by Ben and Todd and Frederickson and Cole that we couldn't hard surface the trail. That wasn't part of the destination Iowa money. False. Because we had secured the right of way, it was available. So there's money, we just have to dig a little harder sometimes. And I'm not throwing a stone at you saying that. There's money out there.
Everybody's on the same side. Everybody wants what's best.
That's all I'm towards the destination. I really am.
I have a civic
Whether it's a bike
question.
trail or the river.
If, say these fellows bought the dam. And it is gonna cost a lot of money to repair. And the county conservation board, we can't find grants to do this. They would need to, their first step would be getting enough signatures for a bond issue. Is that correct? Am I correct in thinking that?
1,700.
That's
1,700.
what my understanding is.
And Humboldt County.
Yeah. And that would not,
Out there.
but that would not preclude them from getting every grant they could.
Right.
How do we have grants for buying that land up there north of Renwick? And how do we have grants for the campgrounds all the time? How do we have money for that all the time, but never anything for the river in 50 years? I don't understand that.
Because the dams are kind of anti-conservation. And all our grants have been for conservation, but people.
But we have 100% grant service, so where's the money?
The Renwick property that I would hear.
Yeah.
They bought it, it's turned around and turned it over to conservation.
And then we were able to secure grant funding through the DNR and the US Fish and Wildlife Service.
100% grant.
Yeah,
Okay. But is the campground been 100% grant?
not all of it.
Yeah.
No,
We always have money for that. Why is
There's a-
Conflict of interest.
It comes out of our general fund.
I know, what about our general? For the river? The conflict of interest with you guys, you don't want anything to do with the river, you just wanna make campgrounds.
For the government, it's 546,000.
Yeah.
There is 46,000 here. We don't have a budget.
Well, what he's saying is the percentage goes to the campground. Todd, where you at on the new shelter house or the new bathhouse? You're way over budget. You're not done yet. And then now
It's
you're
about where I thought it was gonna be.
And now you want to sell this, and then the same meeting, you want to build more sheds out or more cabins?
I'm not building more cabins.
Well, you're getting, it was in the paper that you want to get bids to build more cabins.
It's a shelter.
Okay. Well, you're spending more money out there, and you already put cables on the dam.
Well, here, let's just,
You know, the whole point is, you know what, guys, I don't think we're interested. in
All of
buying-
that was approved by the supervisors. I presented a packet of information to all of you. So
And we.
if you want to throw me under the
there was
bus,
ARPA
throw
money,
everybody.
And some of that stuff was, we approved the ARPA money, and that was one of the things that you could use ARPA money for.
was
was
outside,
For outside, because they
Recreation,
wanted to
right.
get people out and about. And that's where that money was, that came from. I think we're getting off base, or we don't need to be attacking each other. We need to be working together as a group, not attacking each
Well,
other.
you guys are not that interested in buying a dam at this point.
I would say, we'll take Eric's advice and put it up to a vote. We gotta be bonded anyway. We
Oh,
put
that
on
wasn't
we put on Facebook one
My
time.
advice.
We put on Facebook one time, got 547 people in favor of saving the dam. We haven't advertised, we haven't done anything. If we start a campaign, I'll guarantee you there's gonna be the money. Now what are you guys gonna do? The votes are gonna be there. And I had a very prominent business person in town come to me and said, I wanna make a really nice donation to the dam. I don't wanna see it go. He said, we can get $500,000 really fast.
Great.
So.
Yeah, that's- yeah.
It's out.
No, nobody's against not saving the dam. That's the
But
missing.
nobody's fighting for it. I've been at a meeting where they told Todd not to waste any time trying to don't waste too much time trying to find these grants and stuff.
The whole thing
And I
is,
just spent $17,000 on this study, this action report, and Tate said in a meeting a year ago, if this is $8 million, you guys gonna drop it? We said, yeah, we probably will. So it comes in at 3.2 million. And the very next meeting, sell the dam. Come on, guys, we're not working towards the same goal of destination Humboldt. That's what this is all about. We are not getting support for the dam for the people that are on that board that help fight to find stuff and find monies. They're, you know. Maybe it's not exactly what your pet project is, but you need to be fair to everybody, whether it's the trails, the campgrounds, or the dam.
So because we don't have the same vision as you, Brett, we're wrong.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong.
We don't share the same vision.
What
is your vision?
Yeah.
My vision, conservation and doing what we can afford, but just because two groups don't agree with each other doesn't mean one's wrong and one's right.
What do you think is-
Conservation board had always been in charge of the dam, and this one has nothing to do with it.
Why'd you
Just
sell?
because you have 534 people in favor of it, doesn't mean there's 10,000 people in Humboldt County. That's a lot of people.
Let's bring it to a vote.
We can beat this thing to death
Yeah.
like we have for the past year. Put it to the vote of the people and see what they say.
if we take their recommendation, whatever
Yeah,
Todd read to us, accept it. And I guess I would consider them two boards still trying to patch together something and come up with an idea. Whether they don't want to work together, I don't have a clue.
Right.
I'll attend. I'll help referee. I'll still be part of it because I'd like to
well,
say.
the whole thing is, if you can get the signatures and get the bond issue on the ballot, then it goes to the people.
Yeah.
But you gotta have all your facts in a row, from what I understand. You gotta have the right amount of money down, don't you? I mean, you gotta have everything
What
pretty
do
much
you
laid
have
out,
the backing of the board?
but.
I came here last time I was here, I asked, will you give the same commitment to the dam we gave to the city if we can go to the state and try to get money? There's money that, like I said earlier, the money has been set aside, there's still money available at the state. Some of that destination, Iowa money was pushed in the back burners, and we can still get our hands on it. I was just told last Thursday, Friday.
And
And all I did is come to the supervisor, say, will you make the same 1.4 commitment? I'll go downtown, see if we get a commitment out of them, and you guys, full device.
we said on the contingency that it would cost what we had originally agreed with, 200 to 300,000. Let's get it right.
Okay,
You know, that's, because that's what we said, we would be willing to do it because that's what we have for extra, had for the ARPA money.
and what are you gonna do when when that was a $4.7 million project on the dam? And with the 50% contingency that could be on top of that, what were you gonna do when that went over budget?
First, we
You're
had
on
to
the
get
hook for
all,
1.4. Sorry, I read.
no, that's fine. That was not the thing. The only way we were gonna be able to go through with this is if we could get the other amount of grants to get it down to what, 200, 300,000. I know that's what we all agreed on.
Correct.
But the whole, this is the side point. That group went to the city. And there was a group of people that went down, just
I
like
know.
Tate just said,
I
and
know.
they put it to death.
Right.
Okay, so we gotta let that rest too. There's no
Exactly.
sense sitting here beating it back
No,
and
but
forth.
he keeps talking about.
I
the money
understand.
that we were willing to
But
go
we can
with,
be
so
here
why
till
should-
4 o'clock.
I agree, and I don't want to do that either, but I also want to get the facts out there right too. What we actually did agree with and what didn't, because like there's misinformation getting out there, so that's what I'm trying to say. I am done and over with option 2. There's nothing, we're never gonna
We
be
are,
able to
though.
get that
Every
back.
time we talk, we go right back to
Well,
the
because
option
he
two.
keeps bringing up the money that we were willing to do the 1.4, so let's get that part straight.
But all he's saying is there was if the bid went over, we were still gonna have to take the difference in that bid. We were gonna be on the hook for that, period. Right?
It's a moot point because we don't have it.
That's right,
Right,
that's what
it
I'm
is.
saying. So let's not-
Meetings, we don't have an extra 1.4
No.
None, zero.
Right.
No, and if you go to the county taxpayers, they're not real happy with the
No.
latest assessments. You
No,
wanna go with the dam, you're gonna jump another 25%. They're really gonna be unhappy.
right,
And
And
I,
then when they see the schools addition on there, they're really already
yeah,
pissed.
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, that's the point. We just gotta figure out a way to make this thing work. If we don't, it'll just sit stagnant, cause
mhm,
even
right,
We lowered the taxes.
exactly.
John,
The school lowered taxes.
okay,
We did not raise one.
what can we do legally?
okay.
Well,
For the record,
you can-
For the record, we put,
Okay, let's
was
let-
it $10 million
that is correct,
and it
because
was
we have
lowered?
$34 million spending authority, and we can borrow up to 30% of that on our Pebble Save money in order to do a project without public approval. Because we have a massive spending authority.
And
we have
that's,
very little.
that's the
debt.
point that no one in town understands.
Exactly.
We can't do that.
School.
You
finance is
can't do that,
incredibly
but the
different.
school can.
Yes, and school finance is very different than county finance.
I understand,
Way different creature.
Totally.
but there's a whole lot of people that don't understand that.
You're right.
And when you try to explain it, they look at you with that look.
You know what, Bruce, I could not agree more. I had to go to classes to learn how to do school
Well,
finance.
Yeah, everybody should spend about 2 years on a school board.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would.
So I'll
I'd rather go to the dam.
Let's-
yeah.
Hold up. John, talk about what we can do legally so that we can get that done and move on.
Well, I mean. I think your options are many options. You can vote on a bond issue. You can attempt to sell the dam. You can contact the DNR about taking the dam out. You can do nothing. You can continue to look for grants and other funding while we wait. I mean, there's a ton of options available. Most of them are gonna take a lot of money. So, you know, if you decide on a project that you think is a good idea, and it's gonna cost whatever, you can look for other funding. You can look for grants. You can talk to conservation board. You know, the other thing, I mean, I don't know how much fun this is for anybody, but you can have a joint meeting of the conservation board and the board of supervisors at a big place. Where you all meet and have as many people that want to show up at probably a long meeting. And have them talk about what they want. Maybe there's stuff that nobody's thought about that would be a good idea that you can do. I don't know. I mean, but as far as legal options, there's a bunch. Most of what you would want to do would be allowed. So in my research, the first thing I looked at, asked me about the dams. I didn't think anybody could own a dam. I thought it was owned by all government. So half the dams in Iowa are privately. Which shocked me, but
Half of them dams are on private property.
that may be, but, like half the dams in Iowa are privately owned.
Well, Reasoner Dam was privately owned prior to conservation,
Yeah.
But no, you're talking dams, you're talking farm ponds, you're talking all this stuff.
everything.
So, I mean, that's not an accurate number either.
Well, I just took it from the DNR, so I mean, I didn't do my own research on this as far as like go out and count all the dams in Iowa.
I think that
And then look them all up.
specifically
Look them
refers
up
to
and
low
see who owns them, like
dams.
that. So, yeah, and the DNR, I think their goal is to get rid of dams in Iowa if they can. So, there's things that the DNR would be interested in, that probably nobody here wants. And I know like 6, 7 years ago, there was talk of doing like 3 different things with the river. And none of those were done, but I mean, you have tons of options, but it's more with what you can get funding for. And well, so. I mean, a vote on a bond issue isn't a bad idea. But then even if that's approved, you gotta figure out what you're gonna do with the money.
Jonathan, just a question. Whatever that number was, 1,500, I heard someone say earlier, to get signatures for a bond issue. How quick would the bond or would the vote have to take place afterwards? Because there's so many different things that you gotta do in order to put
I don't.
numbers together.
I don't know off the top of my head. I have to look that up. Without looking it up, I would wonder if we'd have enough time now, if they were turning tomorrow to put it in the November election.
That's what
I
I want.
just don't know. I have to look it up. I don't know, but I can't imagine that it's 2 months before the election is okay. So I just don't know.
Well, and I mean, there's so many different avenues. We
Right.
went from 15 million to 3 million. So that's, how do you do? I mean, what direction do you turn? That's why it's such a fiasco. But like I said, I think we should move forward. We
Yep.
accept the thing that you read to us. Put that into our minutes that we accepted what you guys have brought to us.
I will apologize to you guys. I did not see this turning sour, I guess, today.
Not your fault.
It was my understanding that there was some interest in the transfer of ownership. I wish,
I don't think that there isn't, and
that
I'm
they
not
would have let
speaking
me.
for the
I
board.
know, and I'm not speaking, but I made multiple phone calls to that group, and I wish they would have let me know that maybe things changed. I would have asked to be removed from the agenda, so didn't go the way I thought it would today, but I apologize to you guys.
And we have a dam that's past its life. I hate throwing good money into if we were gonna do anything with the dam as to save the dam, I'd say put a new dam in and get rid of the old one. I mean, cause it's cheaper to put in new than it is to remodel always.
Right.
I mean, if that's the wet route we wanna go is have a dam. That would be more in favor of putting a new dam in than fixing the one that's 111 years old that's supposed to last. 60 some years, I think the original lifespan was of it. And then. There is funding out there to lower that dam. And if we get, there's, when you lower it, you can get funding. And I still am more in favor of lowering that dam. I know it'll never be Lake Nokomis. But I am not in favor of ripping it out entirely because then we lose our fishing that we have in Humboldt. And that is a big attraction for Humboldt. If you don't think so, go down along that river in the summertime. It's busy.
Fort Dodge tore all their dams out. Now they're wishing they hadn't because now they're building jetties and everything else. Because there's no fishing down there anymore.
Well, that was part of the original. plan.
Sniper Engineering did that, and they did a survey of people that fish before and after dam removal. And the people, at least who took the survey, like it better because there are more game fish with the dam removal. So, you know, I've heard that too from people, but I think that's more hearsay. And, you know, if we want to say the dam came out in Fort Dodge and now fishing is terrible, I think we need to talk to some authority down there. Because, you know, that's people just talking.
Well, they just started putting those fishing jetties in this spring.
Trying to get the fishing back up.
If I may, and I'm not trying to point out the obvious here, but whatever money we're talking about here, we have to multiply it times 2. Because we have 2 dams that are in Humboldt.
True.
Well, not all of it, because 800,000 of that was for the Overmeyer gates to raise it up 2 foot. And they already have good gates up there, so that's the big share. But yes, you're right, we need to spend some money on rubble.
Bruce, to answer your question on the petition, they have to be turned in no later than 82 days before the election. And the supervisors have to approve it to go on the ballot no later than 69 days before the election.
So Sam's running on November,
Yeah.
and that's the point. And I don't want to keep beating the obvious, but if we don't work together to figure out a common solution, then we're gonna keep having these little flare-ups every time one group comes, the other one's gonna come attack, then we retreat, then we get pissed, then we get back together. So it gets old.
Regarding the bond, by the way, we had Piper Sandler come in, their public finance company out of Des Moines. Came into the school, and the average school bond will take 3 voting cycles, and that's for a school.
Yeah.
It'll fail twice before it actually passes. So we're talking a long. If even possible.
This is like a impacted wisdom tooth. that you just can't get rid of.
There's gonna have to be some give and take in the
Yeah.
community to come up with a plan that everybody can be behind, because if there's any division in the community, nothing's gonna happen.
Oh, I agree.
And I do believe we're pushing to get our trail system hooked in with Webster County. And if we can tie in that, and I know that, like Brett says, there is money coming for paving existing trails. So far, it hasn't been there, but they say they're gonna start doing that.
You're softening their stance on
Yeah,
that.
before it's all new trail, new trail, new trail, and there was no money to pave existing trails. They're starting to lighten that up a little bit.
I think that's part of the reason why when you have smaller counties, we
Yeah.
don't have the ability to find new trail.
Right.
We just have to update our existing stuff that we have,
Yeah,
so.
because it's probably 200,000 to pave a mile of trail. Would you guess? What do you think, Dave? Or about Ben?
What they say for this new trail, you're closer to $1 million.
Oh, that's to build a trail.
So to build a
But
trail.
I'm saying to
so like
pave an
pave
existing.
the 3 rivers, they said our cost was gonna be roughly.
Existing, I think it's like 280.
280 a mile to pave an existing. That's almost as much as a road. I can't hardly
Yeah,
believe it.
it's ridiculous. It is.
Crazy. Okay, well, we need
Anyway.
to move forward. We either need to make a motion on this recommendation if we're going to act on it, or we need to table it, one or the other.
I don't know, is this a discussion, well,
Well,
what would be that,
discussion
what would
action.
we be acting on?
The recommendation
wanted
to
to sell,
sell the dam.
We wanted to set a date for a public hearing.
If there's no motion.
Yes.
If there isn't interest in anybody buying it, then it's gonna be hard to sell it.
Yeah, it's wasting your time.
Right,
I would
okay,
just,
and I'm good with that. I just want to
Table
make
it.
sure we get it done and be over
you
with.
want to table it for,
I just.
or just let it die?
See if there's, see if a motion happens and then let it die.
Anybody want to make a motion on that? Okay, no motion is made. We're over with this discussion.
All right,
Thank you.
good.
Yep,
Good,
thank
good.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Todd. Set a public hearing and to do something from there. So we gotta, we're pushing the deadline, all right? Down in order to do this,
Okay, Our next thing on the agenda is to accept low bids for tree removal and dirt work for the courthouse. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks a
all.
lot, guys.
Thank you, DZ. Got some stuff to put in the paper?
Well-
Can we come with this one?
Would probably be. John was saying you have so many different options on the table. Set a date, see if anybody's interested in buying it. If they're not buying it, then that fall going, what's no longer a viable option. And
It scares me, who might buy it though? Yeah.
But they're on the hook where 3 years from now, if they don't do anything, it goes back to conservation.
Right.
Yeah.
Morning.
You got my text back yesterday on.
No, I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're up, Paul.
We've got the bids on tree removal. And I got from Cooks, Jody Skier, Arbor Pro, Cavalli, and Doug Marshall.
So just to set the record straight, this is for all the trees out front or just
6 of them.
6 of them?
Yep.
Mainly the ones around the sidewalk
The
area.
the 4 big maples right out front. And then there's one over here, a little farther over, and then there's 2 over there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what them type of trees were even
Yeah, we weren't sure what those were.
much.
So
Those
it's 4
choices kinda like
4
right there.
maples and 2.
There's a total of 6.
Okay.
Right. In the Arbor Pro, yeah, there is a diagram of where they are.
Okay,
Okay, Cooks bid. 6 trees removed. Stumps ground out and clean up, $5,800. Arbor Pro. Same thing. 6,000. Jody Skeeters, same thing, 7,000. Doug Marceau. Remove 6 trees, clean up, grind stumps. 8,800. And Cavalli was the low bid, they were. $3,765.50.
That's to grind stumps.
And that's to take out the trees.
what was that?
Yeah, I was just gonna
30,
say,
3765.
37.55, okay.
Remove 4 maples, remove 2 more maples farther west, haul away all the debris. Grind out the 6 maple stumps and the 2 stumps down by the street. And yeah, $3,765. So they were by far
Yeah.
the lowest bid.
So are we still set on doing them later?
In the summer.
Of course, we don't have any rain within the next 7 months. We could not have to worry about it grabbing.
No,
Yeah.
the grass.
What were you thinking, Paul, on timing?
Well, I'd like to, I don't think I'd like to do anything before the 4th of July. I think for the
Yeah.
4th of
Yeah,
July,
I would agree.
we should have everything looking as decent as we can. I would say after that, we can go into the fall, into September and grow grass.
All right, yeah, it's actually better. in fall.
That's probably a better time to sow grass anyway. And it's gonna take a while to get the dirt work done
Is
and
there,
the concrete out.
is there a time frame on that exception bid? I mean.
No, I didn't
If
see
he
any.
Wanted to have it done in 60 days or
No, I didn't, I don't think there is.
there's nothing on there. So I guess, are we looking for a motion to accept
Well,
that or, and check with them on the time?
well. We'd say after the 4th, but like you said, Bruce, if we don't have a lot of rain, it's not.
Yeah,
You know,
It
we
might
could give
be-
them a deadline to have it out also, like
Yeah.
from
Well-
July 5th till August 30th or something.
Because if you do want to
Because
do
otherwise
the
you wait, it could be November. when
dirt
they do it.
work and seeding and that, you won't have time to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
That'll-
between the second week in July and maybe the second week in August.
Yeah, I'll give them 30
But that
days.
gives us some time to get the concrete out and
Yeah,
get the dirt work done, but are we gonna? Are we still looking at utilizing?
I think
I think so.
I'm thinking September would be fine, August, September, having a little couple days of work.
Then it's gonna depend upon a little bit on what Ben has available and what he has available too.
By the end of August, basically, you'd have the dirt work done with the trees gone.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, could you have the dirt work done by the end of August?
Possibly.
2 weeks in the end of August.
Yeah, if we got some freedom, I mean, we can shift our schedule around with what we're doing. To get dirt work done. We're not finished contractors.
Yeah.
Right, right.
good point, good
So
point.
do you use rough sandpaper or do you use?
But we're gonna want the trees out before we start
Absolutely.
Right.
concrete.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
we have them out by the 1st of August.
that's hopeful. Yeah,
Yeah.
first part of August. at least.
First part of
You gotta think if Cavalli,
Sometime.
Yeah,
you know, if you tell him you can't start till after the 4th, you can't say it's gotta be done by the.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, we'll work with him too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he'll work with you. I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
First of all, I make the motion that we do accept the low bid from Cavalli Tree Service for the tree removal at the courthouse. It's a 37.65, whatever decimal point, 50 cents.
I would second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, so it carries. All right.
Obviously, it'd be pretty easy to see when you get sold out and then working with secondary roads.
Well, I'll stay in touch.
Mhm.
Have some pine trees looking to, they haven't even cleaned up or
What's that?
the pine trees.
There. I would have told you last year, there was one over here that was looking sickly, but it's looking a little better this year.
Do we ever?
Once again, we really need rain desperately. That would really help them, but. All in all, I think the evergreens are looking decent. I don't think we need to touch any of the evergreens.
Good.
So. And I think, you know, we get some grass established and maybe next year we come back and. Plant a couple more trees out there somewhere. I mean, it's not like I'm anti-tree.
Right,
Anti.
Yeah.
yeah.
Take your.
We want
bids
help,
there.
we want healthy trees. Okay,
Okay, good.
anything else for us, Paul?
We didn't.
I
get
think we
any
got rid of the
bids.
shed.
Did we get rid of the shed?
Good.
That's what
I think so. I think so.
Good.
Okay.
Matt took it?
We're not getting anything for it,
That's
but
all right.
we don't have to pay him to take it either.
Well, that's good, that'll work.
Make sure all the pieces leave with it.
Just make sure you have them shake hands and we'll see you later.
Other than that,
You're working on the window and front.
that front entry, the main entry,
Mhm.
I've been up tiptoeing on the top of a step ladder trying to get that light all cleaned up.
Yeah.
Looking nice.
Looks,
Well, I did get it all cleaned up, then the glass diffuser on the bottom broke.
Of course.
So I ordered a new one, and this one is plexiglass, it's just a frosted one, it looks really nice in there. And so I got it all back together, I put LED bulbs in there and it's looking really good, so then I went to clean the windows. And the window above the door, the biggest one, evidently had a leak developed. Because it's gas filled
It's fog.
Oh,
and it's dirty inside. Okay. So I can't get that out of it. We've got somebody coming to look at the window in the courthouse or in the courtroom. And the one in the,
Is that a broken one in the bottom, like a BB shot in it? Is that the one?
so, yeah. And I was gonna have them just take a look at it and see what
What they
thought about
We
it.
guys
Good idea.
see where we're at.
But other than that, I don't.
How
We're
about
good.
our painting quote, we paint,
That's the only one I've gotten.
Okay.
I got it downstairs. I don't,
have you reached out to anybody else? Have you found anybody else?
there's not a lot of people that have the ability to get up to the third floor.
Yeah. It
But
did, I mean, when I seen that quote, I didn't think it sounded outrageous.
I didn't think that sounded too bad, no.
Yeah.
And it's local. But I can, I will. I mean, I can reach out to somebody in Fort Dodge or someplace too, but. It's up to you guys.
I'd make a couple calls for Dodge, because you're supposed to,
Okay. All right,
At least see how competitive it is.
yeah.
yeah. We'll do.
And then make sure that they're also gonna recaulk the windows and stuff, make sure that.
That's on the bid with
Yeah.
him, yeah.
Yeah.
The spalling on the concrete out front,
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of it, and I don't know if that's something you can buy. The stuff, it's just a skim coating, but. And I could do that, but when it comes to matching the color,
yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
it's gonna be a little tough, and I'm not sure how they do that. But I really don't know.
They look like limestone blocks that's falling off. Because to me, it's what it looks like. Of course, I'm not professional in that field.
Yeah,
either, so.
it could be just concrete blocks too that are
Colored,
skim coated with colored,
yeah.
but we're gonna have to do something like that. Probably
Yeah,
before
we'll
winter.
leave the moisture out.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Thanks for all your good
All right.
Comments,
Okay.
do your rain dance or something out there.
Exactly.
Your
Okay.
phone
The
fall.
next thing is approve the FY 24 contract amendment with the Iowa Department of Human Services. We're good.
This was, we dealt with them on the wording. For what? I can't remember what it was, a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and this is just the finalized. Copy of it, and we approve it every year as it's stated. With the DHS and because they share, or they have services here. in the
And they have the
office.
office here. Yeah, or it's upstairs now, right? Or is it?
Third floor,
Third,
yes.
yeah, it's upstairs, third floor. Okay.
Everything the same as it's always been.
I believe so.
Motion to approve the contract with DHS.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
Okay, unanimous, it carries. All right. Approve resolution 2023-16, a resolution to appropriate money for FY 2022-23.
Okay. The medical examiner was over budget. We were able to take money from the sheriff office, which is
How did you ever get that done?
crazy that we were able to. We've kept them in budget so far this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You can only take out of like service areas, and that's the only one you can take out of. And the medical examiner was high because of deaths. And so it's just moving one fund. $4,999.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yes, exactly.
Next year, we hope we don't have as many deaths and we,
Oh,
I mean, that's the. Basically.
Hopefully Peter has more money.
yeah,
So do you need that?
yeah, we need a motion, and I'm just trying to do different stuff this way to not have a budget amendment.
Just moving it from department to
Yeah.
department, that's a good idea.
I would make that motion to approve resolution 2023-16 to appropriate money.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, committee reports.
Oh, man,
No,
You gotta go back to.
2 weeks.
22nd. Let's see. On the 24th. That'd be right.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, had a Region 5 meeting in Fort Dodge. And it was a very good meeting. They had a guy there from Van Diest, one of the honchos from over at the factory over there at Webster City. And he explained what there was, and how the buildings was laid out and what was.
I'm sorry, I just turned my phone on so I can get to my calendar and.
That was.
You won the lottery.
Yeah.
You're a winner.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was very interesting. He was telling the guys and the emergency managers where everything was, what building was hazardous and volatile and all that good stuff. A good meeting. Then 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 24th, I had a Midas meeting in Fort Dodge. And that went pretty well. Let's see. Back over here, Wednesday, the 31st, I had a VA meeting. I won't discuss that.
Okay.
Okay.
As I here Friday the 2nd for the supervisors meeting. And that was it for me.
All right, the past couple of weeks, no official extra board meetings, as one of them got, revamped, a week ago. But, did have, just an informational meeting on Tuesday, the 30th in the evening. Rick alluded to it in our discussion, and that was with the, so quite a nice group of folks about the bike trail. The fact that Webster County is at the end of next year having their trail to Badger, and then there was a talk of the extension through Webster County into Humboldt County to make it the Three Rivers Trail. Ben was there, Rick was there. And I felt that was a good meeting and a very good group of people, a couple of folks from Webster County. And so just more informational, I would say at this point, but you had a good thing to get the information on, so.
We kind of gave direction for the next step, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, very informative, it's not somewhat educational. So that was my only thing.
I'm really surprised you're on your phone. You went digital on us.
Well, I just,
You took lessons while you were laid up.
yeah.
King Bruce.
Oh,
Right.
you don't. Saying,
I was looking in here for when I seen Chuck Grassley and I didn't put it in here, so I don't know the date.
When he was here.
Yeah, what day he was here.
That was the Friday,
26.
the
26.
26th.
I didn't.
Yeah, 'cause I was
write down, okay.
gone.
All right, so Friday the 26th, I went and seen Chuck. That was
How'd that go?
good. They had a pretty good turnout. There's probably 40 in the community maybe there.
Good, good.
And yeah, it's very interesting seeing how the trail, they did a little walking tour through the manufacturing, see how the trailers were made. And of course, good old Chuck, he stood there, he says, I'll take any question. Except for one, he said he stayed away from that, I can't remember which that was, but.
Honey Bud.
Debt ceiling,
Yeah.
was it the debt
No, it
ceiling?
was state issues. That's
Oh,
what it was. He
state,
says, I'm not gonna talk about state issues because he says, I don't deal with that.
We got enough of them.
Yeah,
He's probably heard a lot of it.
but he stood up there and took questions for 10 minutes and did a good job answering. He's an amazing man of his age, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And then, that Tuesday for the bike meeting, I was there with Eric. And then I think on last Friday, I went down to Midwest Fencing and talked to them about getting fence put in out here at the landfill. I've called all around and I can't get anybody to do it except for them people. Everybody's, I'll do it next year. You know,
Could they do it this year?
yeah, he's gonna do it. this fall after the crop's out, so I don't have big damages to the guy who's farming it. And, so that's in the works.
See the substation out there's already got their posts in.
All right, that's my next topic.
Okay,
I got a call from Ray Stockdale going out there after this meeting, because we're still fighting over that tile issue. For some reason, Mid-American just doesn't want to do what they're told to do. I have no idea why they just don't hook things up. And then I got a call from John Tolbert this week that governor signed at House File 713, which is a good thing for us with our
with the
drainage,
railroad,
with our drainage
Oh,
of the
good.
railroad.
They did.
thank goodness,
Yeah,
Awesome.
good.
Awesome.
that's nice.
That's it for me.
It's okay, the 23rd, we had our UDMO meeting up in Emmitsburg for the annual report. We get a copy of this. This is a book for all of the different counties that they help UDMO works through. And then it gives a financial breakdown as to what who they help, the amount of money that is spent in each county. It's really kind of a unique overview of what they do in all these different counties. They had most of the people that were up there as far as energy assistance, the lie heat, the lie wall, weatherization. So we got a pretty good report on all that. I'll leave it here in the middle if you want to look through see what Humboldt County gets in winter. On the 25th, we did the flags. Again, I'd like to thank our high school kids that came out, and some of them were a little younger. I'm looking at them like every year. It's like, holy cripes, these kids are either getting younger. They're running around, but we got them done. Ran out of flags. Did you ever find any more?
No, I was gonna ask Paul that.
Oh,
I know there's more down there.
well, we got started up here and we did the loop, got down to the corner and
Right now.
ran out of flags. So that was the reason somebody asked why they didn't have them all the way around, but that was, we ran out of flags. Then at 6 o'clock, I had my CFR monthly meeting. I was on the phone. Friday morning, I had to go to Mayo for my knee checkup, but while I was on my way up there, I got the opportunity to listen to the Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Report. One of the facts, or one of the things that Tony put out was 5 to 7 years ago, the average stay for those kids down there was 4 to 6 days. You know what it is now? You probably do, because you helped pay for it. The average right now is 25 days.
Really?
And the scary thing is what that costs. Some of these counties around here are just, it's tearing their budget to shreds. You get 3 or 4 kids that you have to take down to Eldora and house them at $300 a day. And it's not only that, but the court system. You know, they can't get the kids into the court system, so they just have to leave them in there
Oh, to get him to go try.
until they,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you have somebody that has a gun charge or something like that, you just aren't gonna send them back home after 3 days of cooling off and say, well, you'll be all right. So Tony said that's what we deal with every day. And they're almost full. That's how sad it is.
Are they adding on or something down there? Did you say?
Well, that doing that adjudicated,
Yeah.
because we can't have a juvenile in our jails.
That's right.
So they added on, that was the other part of the thing, that they got the budget, they finally got that. Now we're arguing with the company because they're several months over due. So anyway, that's a whole new story. On the 31st, they took the flags down. I didn't get back, but again, thank all of the kids for coming up and and Coach Derek for corralling them all. And then Friday I did the conference call for the permit on out of the drag strip. So I think that's all I had.
All I had was on Wednesday, May 24th, and then Thursday, May 25th, was that opioid summit. I don't know, I have a hard time saying opioid, but anyway, I do, but. And I was really happy, Christine Sewell, who is the Director of Public Health, she was there on Wednesday. And we got a lot of good information at that meeting as far as what we need to do. How we can use that money. Her and I are gonna work together on getting like a task force together. I've already talked to Dean Kruger, he's gonna join that, and then we're gonna try to get some other people to see what actually is needed in our county. And that was their big recommendation down there. You gotta find out, get with the schools, the police, sheriff, and what actually really is needed, mental health, because mental health and drug abuse goes hand in hand. So try to get some kind of a task force together to see what are the needs, where do we need to go from there, and then put something together.
I'll bet
for
you
that.
CFR would have the figures and
Mhm.
numbers for Humboldt
Yeah, and
County.
we'll include them, include them also. Christine said that they're working on basically, an assessment, county assessment. That's what they're working on. And, so that's, yeah, it's a community health needs assessment. It's not just specific to opioids, but it does include that also. So it was very interesting. It was a very good meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you for going down for that. And hopefully I know that the money has to be spent for each county
Correct.
and it's
And we've
have to
got,
track it and
Yep. John sent me what our allocations are so far for that. But there's still a couple of lawsuits, I think, still we're waiting on. But from what I gather, it's like 182,000 or something.
Is it that much?
Mhm. That we received? I don't know if we received it yet, but that's what we've been elected, because I think I
Yeah.
did send something to see what we've
And I-
actually received.
And I had it written down there. It's like
Okay.
31,000, I think.
That we've actually received so far, but there's
And it was,
There's
there's extra they weren't expecting.
there's like 4 or 5 different suits out there
Yeah.
with some with the big companies, some with smaller ones, and then some not just manufacturers, but also distributors. That
Yeah.
it was kind of a little confusing on how they talked about that, but they're waiting on those smaller ones yet to scoop it all, but I think we're at, when they say 100,000. But I can't see it from here because it's so small, I gotta print it
Well,
out,
that's-
because it is like,
and that's part of the scary thing with you allocate it for the CFR. Or someone like that, they love it, but we have to make sure that it's for used on people in Humboldt County.
and that's why Kristen is really, that's why we want to get a Humboldt County task force. We
Right.
want to make sure that it's gonna be used for Humboldt County residents and what kind of program, they talked about, it's not just about the recovery, but it's prevention too. So you can use it for prevention, recovery,
Right,
all different, avenues to be able to use it for. So we need to get a campaign going and, things like that. Community involvement. All right, that's all the community, anything else for the greater good?
Yeah,
Okay, Dave.
I asked to put it on. I would also like to thank the kids coming up and putting the flags up. I didn't make either, thanks, for that. So we thank them. I asked to put this on the 2nd, when we had that meeting. And I think we're opening up a can of worms. My opinion is, wham, anybody comes up here, I want a meeting, I want it now, and not wait till our regular meeting. That's a bunch of bull. Because that's just opening up a can of worms. If you can't remember a month ago, you knew you had to get on the agenda to get it approved. Why not get it on there within the next 3-4 weeks instead of waiting and coming up the day after Memorial Day and rattling the doors and said, I can't get in. We didn't have a meeting. So then he wanted a special meeting to get this thing approved. Now, what's gonna stop John out here or Joe down there or Bruce out here coming in and says, I want a special meeting. I want to see the supervisors right now. That's a bunch of bull. I think that the city, I know Dakota City does. I think there's some of the other towns in the county. If you want a board of adjustment or you want a zoning meeting, that costs you $100 up front. I think we ought to charge them if they want a special meeting to charge them to come in here. Otherwise, we're gonna spend 7 days a week up here doing meetings. That's my opinion on it. I think we opened up a can of worms. I don't know why it didn't get on the agenda for this week, but I think it ought to be on there for next week to get something set in stone that we're not gonna jump every time somebody says jump. That's my opinion. I'm off my marks.
Well,
can we legally we need to get with John and make sure that we get
Well-
everything, I don't know how we can.
I'm curious about the whole thing. I do agree with Dave. because,
Oh, I do too,
You know,
yeah.
I do, because there's a meeting every week, about
Mhm.
90% of the year, we get a couple of days off, and everybody knows, it's always
Right.
publicized.
And it's always publicized when we are gonna meet.
They said it,
Right.
Yeah, so
Usually a week or two in advance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really easy to check. But I'm a little curious, I thought Trish, for this type deal, and I do agree with Dave, these people need to stop and think and get their stuff done ahead of time, and it would be a moot point if they did. But that she sent out, is there anybody with an objection, or do you want to vote on why a meeting even had to be called? But supposedly that was the legal precedent that you needed a meeting, but,
Well, we're all in favor of Humboldt County business being successful, being able to make money but by the same token, do it on time.
right.
Yeah.
If you would have had your permit in their possession early enough that they would have been able to put it on our agenda, it would have been approved the week before. It wouldn't.
There was no objection to it, it's just,
No.
we didn't come, like Dave said, a month ahead of time.
Timely.
Yeah.
Get things
They had
done in
to
a timely
Find
manner.
a
You know
couple
what
of
you gotta
next
have.
meeting once they had the event lined up.
And I guess the flip side is I was on the phone, I was working, Sandy was gone, trying to hear it's like time delay.
She was on my phone and. you
I was
were
on Trish's phone.
Trish's phone,
And I was.
and you was on the box.
We couldn't get the Zoom to work.
Zoom wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't
I don't think so either, but that's what the city charged, that they may have upped that since
Or you can just simply
10
say
years, but.
that if it's not on the agenda, that's tough.
But I'm just saying, we're paid to go to meetings, we're paid to run the county. But the county needs to take an advisement that we're not gonna jump at every time somebody says, I want a meeting.
Well, if something slips through the cracks that we need to amend something for a budget in order to make a deadline, I guess we do that,
Right.
Right.
if we
That's
transfer.
county.
That's county business,
That's
that's hard, we do that. But for this, I guess I would agree.
I'm not against making money for anybody in the county. I mean, this fella had a benefit going. He knew 2-3 months ago when he hired the guys to come in that this was gonna happen. So he had a month and a half, 2 months to know to get in here and get his permit.
I agree.
And that's what I say, and I got a drainage problem out here and I want somebody to listen to me, I'm gonna have a special meeting. And I don't think that's right. Nope. I'm not against it, I'm not against going to a meeting, but there's advisements.
No, I agree. We just need to look into maybe with John, what legally, what we can do and if we need to make a resolution or something like that to adopt something like that, I would assume we'd have to do something like that. That would be my assumption.
Have John check into it.
Okay,
Anything else?
That's all I had.
anything else?
And Greg got another soapbox or what? Okay.
Just a note. The BD 103 project is complete. It's already on the agenda for next week. That let's see, what's on there is the reclassification and annexation hearings are already scheduled. And Collins states that you will get the pay claim change order certification of completion and completion report ready at that same meeting, which will be next week.
Did we go with 10 o'clock tomorrow then?
Oh,
Or,
for the-
I
okay,
didn't hear. I said. for that.
Oh, that's right. I think Terry
The
sent an
joint-
email. It says the meeting, I have reached out to them to make sure it's still on and I will let you know. The meeting is set for tomorrow at 10 a.m. via
Okay.
teleconference. If joining from your phone, the number to call is blah, 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 blah.
She said-
It's on your email.
Perfect. Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna follow that one.
Back to Dave's comment. According to the drainage code, we can charge up to $200 per meeting for a special drainage meeting.
A special meeting.
well,
Yeah, that is in the drainage code.
Good. This is special.
Okay.
meeting.
And actually, being state special meeting, we have the authority every time we meet as drainage trustees, we could charge $200
To the district.
to the districts.
Wow.
Okay.
But I think we are
I don't
doing,
think we're doing that.
no, we're not, but if it's a special
But if
meeting,
it's a special meeting, we might consider it.
I think we would consider it.
Safety meetings at 8:30 in the morning,
Yes.
8:30 tomorrow morning.
What's that?
safety meeting.
Oh,
Safety
safety
meeting
meeting,
tomorrow.
okay, but the teleconference is at 10.
At 10.
I'll get that email.
Okay.
nothing else, motion
To adjourn?
to have lunch.
Well.
Oh, I mean, to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Sorry, I was putting in my meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned at 10:04.
Wow.
Okay, so that's joint, right? District.